Hi everyone, welcome. Those of you joining us for the very first time, we want to welcome you. We won't embarrass you by asking you to raise your hand, but we know that there are a couple of you who are joining us for the very first time. So we want to personally welcome you all to Big Fridays. What happens in a Big Friday is that we gather, and then after we gather, there's someone who comes here and speaks about the word of the Lord and about a topic. And as that person speaks about the word of the Lord and that topic, the prayer for everyone is that as we attend Big Fridays, we would learn from the biblical principles that the speaker would share, but at the same time, we choose topics that are very relevant, that are very right up your alley in your different stages in your life. And that is key, because at the end of the day, what we really want to do is we want to share with you something relevant that you could learn from. And as we share this something relevant that you could learn from in the Bible, as you apply it into your life, it would add value to your life. That is what we are offering you here in Big Fridays. A value-driven proposition about you finding purpose and meaning in life through the amazing gift, through the amazing power, and through the amazing love of Jesus. And that's why every time we gather, that is our desire, that we learn from what the Bible is saying. Learn from who the character of Jesus is, and from there, apply that into our present life, and that follows for us to be able to add more purpose, add more direction, and add more meaning into our life. Since bago yung, parang may echo, o ako lang ito, narinig ko na parang may echo. Okay, since we are brand new series, and this series is it's called Social Media, at kanina, when our host, Moses and Nika were asking you to take photos, nainggit ako. Sabi ko, ba't di ako makakuha ng picture kasi nagpe-prepare ako kanina. So sabi ko, why not take a photo now at the start of my message? At syempre, here's my selfie stick. And dapat, kasali ako mamaya sa game na meron tayong best picture contest. Okay? Alright, so ready? Sama kayo lahat? Ready na ba kayo? Okay, big smile, ha? Big smile. Alright, ano nangyari? Okay, big smile. Alright, 1, 2, go, smile. Hindi madilim pala. Alright. Thank you, Mary. Maganda my picture? Okay, good. Alright, welcome everyone to our new series called Social Media. The amazing thing about this series is that originally, it was only designed for 3 messages. But because the material is so good, we feel that we could all learn. And there's so much principles, so many things that we could learn from this series, we decided to stretch it. So instead of 3 weeks, we're going to have it for 5 weeks. And kanina, we were asked a question, who among you are part or is part of a social media? Hindi ko natatanungin ulit yun kasi I know all of you are in social media. I think there are only 1 or 2 people in this group na walang social media. And I praise God for those 1 or 2 people that do not have social media, because it's difficult not to have social media in this part of the day. And one of the things that perhaps I need to ask is this. Since all of you have social media, who among you here checks your social media every single day of your life? Every single day. Who checks your social media every single day? So yung mga hindi tataas na kamay, hindi nyo chinecheck every single day. So ano kayo, once a week, May? Ano ka, once a week? Doc, ano ka, once a week ka rin ba? Every single hour. So I forgot. Okay, every week, every day, mali pala yung tanong ko. Who among you here checks your social media feed more than 6 times a day? You don't check your social media? Okay. Nikki, you don't check your social media 6 times, more than 6 times a day? Less. Okay, good. So meron pa varying degrees of people who do social media, right? But for me, I just want to say it up front before I continue. I love social media. I'm part of social media. I have an Instagram account. I have a Facebook account. I have Multiply. Meron pa ba nun? I never went into Friendster. Multiply yung first attack ko, and then nagpunta sa, as nung multiply ako after a few months, nagpunta na ng Facebook, so I went into Facebook. I just want to say it up front. I have social media. I mean, I have social media brand in myself. I have a digital brand in social media. So social media per se is not bad. But the entire 5 weeks, we're going to talk about certain things that is bad about social media. Okay? So it doesn't mean everything in social media is bad, because I am also part in social media. But there are certain things in social media that we need to say and we need to address in front. Why? Because clearly, there are some challenges. There are some struggles in social media. I know, there are a lot of plus. Sabi ni Moses kanina, pinapaliit ang napakalaki mundo. True, we connect. We connect around social media. By the way, I know there are people who might not understand Tagalog in this group. So if you're seated beside someone who can't understand Tagalog, you have the amazing task of being my personal translator, okay? So please do that. All right. At the same time, there's a lot of benefits. You could connect. You could make the big world smaller. You could promote a lot of things. You could do business on social media. A week ago, I had a challenge. I said, I need to have a walker because my mom had an injury, so she needs to have a walker. And I said, is there anyone out there who could lend me or point me to the right direction in buying a cost-efficient walker? Within 1 hour, someone messaged me and said, no, you don't have to look for one. I'm going to give you one for free. So in short, social media could be a lot of blast in terms of its positive outlook, but there are also unintended downsides. There are also unintended negative consequences in the different forms of technology within social media. And this series called Social Media, aims to raise those issues, contrast these issues, these struggles with the biblical principle and values that we're learning. And I believe that when the social media negative downsides of these things clash with the biblical principles that we are learning, it would amazingly provide guidance to a lot of us. And when we see this guidance, we then realize, dito para ako dapat ang ginagawa ko, ito para dapat ang ginagawa ko, ito para dapat ang ina-avoid ko. And amazingly, it would provide a more, not just positive platform, but a platform where could you actually impact other people's lives. But it has to start from us. And that is why this series called Social Media, is a powerful message that I believe would speak to so many people with us today. You know why? Because in this series, we will explore the antidote to the negative and downside effects of social media. One of the things that is the downside of social media is that it spurs discontent. What do you mean discontent? We're going to look at the problem when we start comparing ourselves to the others that we see online. We become dissatisfied. In fact, we become discontented in our life and in our hearts when we see these things in our timelines. Alam niyo ba yun? And later on, I'm going to share with you a research that would blow your mind away. Second session. So tonight, we're going to talk about contentment. Next Friday, by the way, there is a talk that next Friday, baka daw holiday. Di ba? Alam ba yan? So we wait for our announcement kung talagang official holiday na walang pasok, wala po. Hindi, sinabi na ba? Meron na ba? Hindi. Okay, anyway, just wait for a further announcement, okay? Kakasabi ko lang, wait for a further announcement Okay? All right. Second, next week, if ever we have Big Friday, we're going to talk about relationships. Do you know that intimacy in relationships in social media is taking a huge hit? What do you mean taking a huge hit? When we post something and we immediately get feedback, and therefore we think we're close to people. Kasi may mga nilalike sa atin, akala natin, uy, nag-like si ano, so perhaps kilala na ako. But actually, hindi kanya kilala. Nagla-like lang siya sa'yo. But these things, this breeds a different behavior in social media that we need to address. As one person once said, social media gives us an illusion of companionship without the demands of friendship. Right? It gives us the allure of companionship, pero walang demand ng friendship. Kung kailan lang gusto, dun lang pwede. And that breeds a lot of negative impact on the people today. Why? Because in social media, you could choose which one to like and which one you will dislike, which one you will avoid, which one you will concentrate. And this inherent negative behavior breeds in the heart of people nowadays a sense of zero compassion. napuputol na yung talagang demands ng friendship. Na pag may kailangan talaga, kailangan mong ibigay. And that is a prevalent behavior that needs to be addressed in our generation today, or should I say your generation today. And so we become very comfortable in relating to people online, but many of us, in fact, we're longing for more face-to-face relationship. And that's what we're going to talk about next week, if meron pasok. Okay? The third week, we're going to talk about authenticity, being authentic. For the very first time in history, we could actually filter everything we show to people. For the very first time in history, kaya mong i-filter lahat ng gusto mong sabihin. In fact, hindi ka na matatakot alamin ng tamang spelling kasi may spell check. Naka-red eh. Uy, mali, wrong spelling to. Right? Doon mo makikita that it breeds this authenticity that is now diminishing from the people who are always in social media. Lahat pwedeng i-filter. In fact, narinig mo naman itong comment na to? Ay, iba siya sa personal. Di ba? Sa picture kasi, ibang-iba yung itsura. Pero pag nakita mo na sa personal, uy, ay, parang, okay, no comment. Di ba? Why? Because we can edit everything. And folks, the problem here is this. The problem is this. The more filtered our lives become, the less difficult it is for us to be authentic. The more filtered our lives become, the more difficult it is for our lives to become authentic. Why? Pag nasa social media, ang galing magsalita. Lahat ng words perfect. Parang kanina, yung caption dapat maganda, right? May score ang caption eh. Pag nakita mo sobrang poetic, ang tindi mag-Ingles. Pero pagkausap mo na face-to-face, hindi makapagsalita. Bakit? Kasi lahat filtered eh. Lahat edited. Lahat ginugoogle. Kaya isip mo ngayon, tanongin mo ngayon, teka, bakit ganon? Parang hindi na siya yun. And true enough, we develop a psyche, a digital psyche, a digital persona totally different from us. And that's dangerous. Why? Because you tend to believe the lie that that digital persona is you. Pero hindi ikaw yun. And that's why you struggle. You struggle. Teka, ganun ka sa online, pero ganito ka sa personal. Sa online, ang lahat tama sa'yo. Sa online, lahat ang galing mo. Pero sa personal, alam mo, lahat karamihan, mali ka. And so may struggle. And that struggle is a challenge to each one of us. And so we need to talk about authenticity. And on the fourth week, we're going to talk about rest. Believe it or not, rest. I tell you, honestly, yung phone ko, mawala. Andun na kay Mary. Yung phone, kaya ganun tayo, diba? Pag nawala yung telepono, saan yung telepono, right? In fact, 80% of you sleep with your phones. Ako hindi. Dati. Pero ngayon hindi na. 80% of you, when you go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, you would check your cell phone. 90% of you would check your cell phone the first thing you wake up in the morning. Cell phone. And 97% of you would go back to your house if you left your cell phone at home. Amazing data. Ganong katindi. And because of that, I tell you, because of that, walang rest. Walang rest. Kasi every time umaandar ang utak mo. Patawa ako eh. I was watching a movie. I kid you not. I was watching a movie. Anong palabas to? Hacksaw Ridge. Tama ba yan? Hacksaw Ridge. Nanood ako ng Hacksaw Ridge. Sino yung artista doon? Yung si Spider-Man? What's his name? Oh, whatever. That guy is. Okay, that guy is, right? I don't personally know him. But apparently, this girl beside me is an avid fan. Pero hindi ko mag-gets yung katabi ko. The entire time we were watching the movie, she was on her phone. The entire time. Flipping, checking the movie, flipping. How do I know katabi ko eh? Kasi gusto ko sabihan, can you please put your phone down? Kasi the light is affecting me. But hindi. Phone. Alam mo, kailan lang siya tumingin sa screen na matagal at sumigaw at na-interesado? Yung natanggal ng t-shirt yung bida. Di ba, may partner, tanggal ng t-shirt yung bida? Sabi, hi! Yun lang pala pinuntan yun the entire time. Yung movie na yun, tignan yung walang t-shirt yung guy. Sabi ko, wow. And there's no rest. And we need to understand that we need to come to a point that we need to find rest in our lives, especially in social media. Nasubukan nyo naman to? Social media fast. Ang sarap. Walang telepono. Walang Facebook notification. Yung walang tinitignan kung sino nagla-like sa Instagram. Yung hindi mo tinitignan lahat yun. Sarap. Gawin natin ng mas madalas yun, right? And that's we're going to talk about in the 4th session is about rest. And then the 5th, the last session, the 5th session, tatawag tayo ng mga panel. Maglalagay tayo dito ng 4 na tao na medyo expert ng konti sa social media. Ito yung kahit tulog na sa social media. Alam niyo ba yan? Kahit tulog na sa social media. Hawak ang phone kahit tulog. May mga ganun eh. Right? Sila yon na pag natutulog, may nagrinig ng notification, gigising. Titignan ko sino nag-like. I'm just kidding. But we're gonna bring in a couple of experts that would talk to you and that would answer your questions about your questions in the social media ecosphere. And then on the 5th session, magkakaroon din tayo ng joint tables ulit. Kasi last time, parang nagustuhan yung joint table breakout eh. So on our 5th session, there's going to be a joint session as well. All right, so just a quick rundown of our series. We're going to talk about 4 things. First, contentment, tonight yon. Next week, pag may pasok, authenticity, and then third would be intimacy in relationship, and then 4th, baliktad pala, contentment, and then relationships, and then authenticity, and then the 4th is rest, and on the 5th Friday, we'll have a panel. So, do you think we all need to learn about these 4 things? Contentment, intimacy, relationship, authenticity, and rest. Kailangan ba natin to? So is it okay if you could invite also other people sa tingin mo? Kailangan nila yun? Like yung office mate mo, na kahit may trabaho, nasa Facebook. Di ba? O yung kaibigan mo, pag nagla-lunch, kausap mo, ano titignan? Instagram feed. O yung isang tao sa bahay, lahat ng mga sisters at brothers mo sa kainan. Ano ginagawa? Imbis na magkwentuhan, nasa Facebook. Lahat ng mga yan, they need to hear this series because it's a phenomena that needs to be addressed. There are root causes and there are downsides to these challenges. You know this guy? This is Aki Hoshide, a Japanese astronaut. He is in the Selfie Hall of Fame. No, seriously, Selfie Hall of Fame. Bakit? Wala makakaganyan ng selfie. Selfie na sa ibabaw ng moon, looking into Earth. Okay, that's an amazing selfie. And he did this when he was in a spacecraft, International Space Station a few years back. Selfie is a word, I'm sure you're all familiar with this. It's a word derived from selfish. Selfish. Selfie comes from the word selfish. Do you know how many selfies are being taken every day? Google knows. So do you know, anybody wants to guess? Guess, sabihin mo sa katabi mo, yung guess mo na number of selfies taken in the entire world every single day. Go ahead. Magbigay ka ng number. Okay? Magbigay ka ng number. Everyone gives a number, okay? Okay, ito yung sagot. Ito yung sagot. Sino sumagot ng over 50 million? Ang exact number, 93 million selfies a day. Wow, talaga. 93 million. Hindi ko alam, kasama ba dyan yung mga groupie o selfie lang? By the way, pwede ba ako medyo mag-side note ng konti? May mga kilala ko, walang ibang picture kundi selfie. Bakit ganon? Selfie lang, isang kuha lang. Pero lang lagi, pak. Every day, yeah, pak. Bakit ganon? Every day, yun lang yung shot. Every single day, sila lang, mukha lang nila. Pak. Siguro kasi yun ang good side nila, pero minsan nakakasawa, puro mukha mo lang, nasa group, nasa Instagram feed. Diba? Medyo kailangan natin ayusin yung konti. Kaliwa naman! Pak. 93 million selfies. Here's another food for thought. How many times in a single day do people check their phones? That's a question. Kanina selfie eh. Ngayon, how many times in a single day? Kung 93 million ang selfie a day, ilan million times sa buong mundo in a single day do people check their phones? Di ko na tatanungin, sagutin ko na agad. 100 billion. You don't believe me, right? Ako din una, hindi ako naniniwala eh. So ginawa ko, nag-research ako. Look at this research. There are now currently about 6 billion phones, 6 billion phones in the world. Are you kidding me? 6 billion phones? Siyempre, may mga landline, etc. there. But if you're gonna check, out of the 6 billion phones, there are about 1.4 billion smartphones. Research to, 1.4 billion smartphones in 2013. 2017 na po ngayon. Right? So let's just be conservative. Kunyari, 1 billion lang ang smartphone. Nakalagay dito 1.4 billion. For example, 1 billion lang ang smartphones. How many times do you check your phone a day? Kanina sabi ni Doc, every hour, right? Doc, matagal pa nga every hour. Who among you here checks your phone every 10 minutes? Wala? Come on. Liars go to... wag. But more often than not, we check our phones every 10 minutes. So if you check your phones every 10 minutes, 100 billion is achievable. Can you imagine that? 100 billion times people a day check their smartphones and become part of social media. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. And that's why there's such a huge risk in the social media, in the development and the proliferation of a lifestyle that's called me, me, me. Kaya talagang lakas ng social media when it comes to me, me, me. In fact, I like what Dr. Lieberman once said. Everybody read this with me, please. The rise of the selfie is a perfect metaphor for our increasingly narcissistic culture. We're desperately crying out, look at me. Alam ba natin yung narcissistic culture? Siyempre, pag wala ka kasama, pwedeng i-Google. Pero ngayon, ano tayo, narcissistic, it's excessive interest into ourselves. Excessive interest into ourselves. Ilang po ibig sabihin ng narcissistic culture. So can you imagine this? If we check our phones in a single day 100 billion times, how does that help fuel the me, me, me attitude? How? Of course it fuels our me, me, me attitude. In fact, here's a bit of news for some of you. Perhaps some of you know this already, but there is a current midterm plan of Facebook CEO Mark Z. He's now currently purchasing old satellites. Si Mark, alam niyo ba si paring Mark? Okay? Si paring Mark, bumibili siya ngayon ng mga old satellites. I-refurbish itong old satellites. That's dig this. Yung satellites, i-connect niya so magkakaroon ng isang Wi-Fi net globally for free. So that everyone will have unadulterated access to internet. That's coming in 5 years. Can you imagine that? Kung ngayon, 100 billion times nag-check our phones, what if kung libre ng Wi-Fi globally? How could that happen? It is going to happen, and the fact remains that this narcissistic culture will be fed over and over again. And that's why we need to address this. Why? Why? Everybody read this from amazing statement from Carey Nieuwhof. It's a horrible master, but it's a great servant. And that's why we want to raise a few of these issues. We need to contrast the struggles with the biblical values and allow us to understand how do we put Jesus in the center of our lives when we are in the middle of a cultural revolution in a selfie-centered world. How? Paano mangyayari yan? That's why tonight, we're going to have a reality check. Kaya ng reality check. So tell me, what makes you become contented? What makes you become contented? And on the flip side, what makes you become discontented? Because tonight we're going to look at the problem when we compare ourselves to others, we become dissatisfied and discontented in our hearts. Ang problema dito, we don't notice this. The problem is we don't think we're actually consciously comparing ourselves to others. But inadvertently, whenever we are in social media, it fuels that desire to compare ourselves. Some people believe never in history have the human population become so discontented in their life. Never. Think about it. Never before have so many people had so much, and yet we want more, we want more, we want more. In fact, some sociologists are saying that social media is one of the biggest contributor of discontentment in our lives. There was a research done. They say that because people always look perfect in social media. I would say always, may mga iba hindi. Pero karamihan, always perfect. Perfect kulay, perfect makeup, perfect food, perfect house, perfect vacation, perfect picture. Lahat perfect. Eh kung ikaw, alam mo, hindi perfect, it drives then that discontentment. They're putting their best image, their best filtered image forward, and you know your darkest, deepest garbage. Alam mo yung mga mali mo eh. Alam mo yung buhay mo ngayon eh. Pag nakikita mo yung buhay nila na perfect, akala mo, yun ang dapat maging perfect sa'yo. Pastor Stephen once said, we're comparing our behind the scenes with other people's highlight reels. We feel like losers because we see the best of the best and we know our worst. And that's why when we see their best and we know our worst, it fuels that discontent. I know a lot of us here loves to travel. Di ba? Love to travel. Ngayon, summer, di ba? Bakit yung may ibang tao para araw-araw nasa beach? I mean, hindi ko maintindihan. Ba't araw-araw sila? Minsan, pag nakikita ko yung feed na beach. Parang gusto ko na mag-beach kahit kakabi-beach ko lang. Alam mo yun? Ba't ganun? Because I asked myself, when was the last time I had to travel? Kaka-travel ko lang eh. Parang gusto ko na ulit. And that is the danger of discontentment. Kasi you are wanting something in the future that makes you forget the enjoyment of the present. Yun ang discontentment eh. Dapat ganun eh. So in short, hindi mo na-enjoy yung present. At yun po yung problema. Akala natin sa social media, lahat okay, pero hindi po eh. Right? And that's the problem. You feel discontented. Or what about a lot of us here? About 99% of us here who are still single and for quite some time, and you're praying for a relationship, right? And you see all these super duper, super sweet photos. I mean, super duper. People getting engaged. Someone posting their photos. Nakala mo parang fairy tale yung kasal. Di ba? Picture kasi pinapost na maanim na picture eh. Buti na lang kung si Zeus ang picture lagi ng wedding niyo, talagang parang fairy tale lagi yun, right? Pero ibang bro, plugging yun. Kasi wala si Dan dito, baka mag-ayat sa akin. Pero si Dan, okay din, ha? Or, what about, or you ask yourself, when you see all of these things, dumating sa utak mo, ako kaya kailan? Again, discontent. Saya-saya mo na maging single, hindi makakita ka na mga ganun, parang, teka muna, bakit ako nga pala wala? Right? Diba? It feels discontent. It's a bit of confusing. Ito pa isa. Paborito kong tignan at maasar. Bakit kailangan lahat ng pagkain lagay sa picture? Bakit ganun? I mean, I don't get it. I find it confusing. Lahat ng kakainin mo, buffet? Ganun ba yun? Buffet dito, steak doon. Flat lay dito, flat lay dyan. I mean, lahat ganito. Bakit wala nagpo-post ng tuyo? I mean, di ba? Tuyo, wala nagpo-post. O kaya, sardinas. Flat layan mo yung ligo sardines. Lagyan mo ng flat lay yun. Ba't parang gumaganon? Bakit? Why? We need to understand why. You know why? Because it's the digital persona that you want others to see you with. You want others to people see. When people say, I ask them, why do you always post the photos? Well, it's nice to post. It's nice to post food photos. But if you really dig deeper, ang gusto mong sabihin ganito, masarap ang kinakain ko, maingit ka. I mean, at the end of it, that's really what you want to say. Masarap ang kinakain ko, maingit ka. And guess what? Marami talaga naiinggit. And why do we keep on doing that? To impress people? Folks, you do not get your value in what you eat. You get your value on what's in your heart. Yun yung titignan hindi yung kinakain mo. So huwag mo kailangan hindi mo kailangan i-post lahat. Siguro pag nagluluto sa'yo nanay mo na masarap na pagkain, okay, asawa mo na nilutuan ka, pwede mo i-post yun. Pero lahat na lang ba ng pagkain ipopost mo? Jollibee, posting. Okay? Jollibee, buti na, iba yung lumabas sa bibig ko. Jollibee or steak or Chowking, right? Lahat Frankie's. Or ito pa pala, isa pa pala. When you post, just finish a 10K run, right? Sweating a lot, Woo! What a sweat. Personal time, mga ganun. Or just finish going to the gym, right? Or lost 20 pounds already in my new diet. Mga ganun ang pinapost, di ba? Pag ikaw, hindi ka nakakapag-gym, wala kang exercise, at you're living a very unhealthy life, and you see your people doing this, you feel discontented about yourself. You feel bad about yourself. You say, teka muna, I'm nothing. I'm no one. I'm no one compared to all these people. And that's the problem. You feel bad about yourself. That's why the reality check is, never before in history that we could accurately measure our popularity. Never in history. Ngayon, you could measure it by the number of likes, by the number of followers. Oh, bakit siya 1,992 ang followers, ako 825 lang? Bakit ganun? I'm only half popular as she is, or half popular as he is. Or, paborito natin, the number of likes on our photos. You compare number of likes. Bakit pag siya, laging triple digit? Ako, double digit lang. Bakit? Ano ginagawa na? Titignan mo ngayon yung picture niya. Bakit ganito picture niya? Bakit ganito? Kasi tinatag niya yung mga ganito. Gagawa siya ngayon ng mga ganito. Pag-isipan niya ngayon, and then she would compete, or you would compete, or he would compete. And the problem with that is that, and so we compare. And we summarize. Everybody else, life is better than I have in my life. Gusto mo ba yun? Gusto mo ba yung sabihin sa mga tao na mas maganda yung buhay mo sa kanila and make other people feel bad about their life? I don't think we all want that. I think we all want to be an encouragement to people. So please, follow this simple step. Number 1, stop always putting your food on the picture. Number 2, stop taking yourself of your face every time na lang of the day. Maganda ka na, hindi mo na kailangan laging i-post. And number 3, don't always put things na hindi ka nagsusulat. Because when they think, we impress people when the things that we say or the things that we post. But folks, don't ever think that everything that you see in Facebook, in Instagram, is authentic. Nanay ko, Facebook addict ang nanay ko. Lagi siya sabi, wag ka uminom na malamig. Bakit? Sabi sa Facebook. Pamalay ka ng kalmansi. Bakit? Sabi sa Facebook. Lahat na lang sabi sa Facebook. Sabi ko, Ma, wag mong paniwalaan lahat na sa Facebook. Hindi lahat yan totoo. Minsan, ayaw na uminom ng malamig na tubig. Bawal may tubig, bawal na malamig na tubig. Doc, totoo ba yun? Bawal malamig ng tubig? Anyway, ito sabi ko sa kanya, Ma, meron tayong acids sa stomach natin. Yung acid, pag bumasok yung tubig, yung acid, gagalaw na yun. So tell me, pag malamig yung tubig na umiinom ko, tinamaan ng acid, ano mangyayari doon? Versus, hindi malamig yung tubig na tinamaan ng acid. Pareho lang eh. But I might be wrong kasi hindi ako doktor. But point ko is this, not everything that happens on Facebook or things that you read on Facebook is correct. It's a reality check. Right? Folks, that's why social media has the tendency to focus ourselves on ourselves. It's so about me. And if we really want to live a life of purpose and meaning, we need to put Jesus in the center of everything. Jesus in the center of everything. But the problem is, when we cultivate the behavior of social media, it's totally anti the principles of Jesus. Why? The principle of Jesus is, if you want to follow me, you need to deny yourself. That's what's in the contract. But if you really follow social media and it's all about you, then it's going to clash. And if you don't manage it, it's going to be a difficult struggle for you. The difficult struggle with you. The world says, if you want happiness, make yourself feel good. That's what the world says. If you want to be happy, make yourself feel good. But it can only give you temporary happiness. The only eternal happiness and eternal joy can only be found in Jesus. I want you to read this verse, this statement. Real life happens offline, not online. Folks, our real life happens offline. And so stop spending your life online. Why? Because the more you spend time online, the more you will compare with others and the less satisfied we are with ourselves. Research, two universities in the United States, they took the students. They had these two groups go into Facebook for 30 minutes, and then they reviewed, they interviewed. Here's a staggering fact. All the students, 35% of those that spend time on the social media, Facebook specifically, do you know what's their number one emotion after 30 minutes? Envy. Envy was the number one emotion that evoked in this study of students. Why? Because every time you see things in the feed, if you don't manage it well, it's going to come into your head. It's going to destroy your appetite for contentment. In fact, you will always be discontented. And so, the real issue, and I want to be very, very honest to you tonight, is that you need to expose these discontents in our hearts. Expose them. And that's why we need to understand what it means to be content. Content in what we need to do. Philippians chapter 4, verse 10. Everybody read this with me. How I praise the Lord that you are concerned about me again. Paul ministered to the Philippi during his second missionary journey. In fact, the context about this issue is that when Paul was saying this, he was actually in prison. In prison. And the thing that we need to understand is that when Paul was sharing these 3-4 verses in the next thing that we're going to study, it's not an easy lesson to learn. Not an easy lesson to learn, especially if someone is in the prison. Look at verse 11. Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation. Everybody read this with me. Whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. What Paul is trying to suggest or trying to share to each one of us is that when you respond to certain circumstances in your life, the desire to respond in the circumstances largely depends on your perspective. Now, if your perspective when you respond to things that's happening in your life is about yourself, then you will be disappointed. But if your perspective about the things happening around you is about Christ's perspective, then you will have a better and deeper appreciation of what it's in stake when it comes to contentment. You know, this verses about contentment is an amazing verse because you know why it's an amazing verse? Because when Paul wrote this, he said, I'll be contented. Whatever happens to me, I'm contented. Whenever I have more, or I even have less, I will be contented. In whatever circumstance I have. What makes it very special is that when the circumstance that Paul were in at this time was that he was not only in prison, but he was also chained to a soldier, to a guard. Can you imagine? Nakakabit ka sa isang soldado, tapos nakakulong ka sa loob na dungeon, and yet, in spite of that circumstance, Paul said, no, I will be content. I will be content. Paul is grateful to what these people were trying to offer him. The people were trying to offer him support. The people trying to support was trying to give them financial help. But he said, no, yeah, thank you. Whatever that is, thank you. But at the end of the day, I will be contented. Look at the verse. With full stomach or empty. I like the way Paul included full stomach. Because more of us, we think that discontentment only happens when you're lacking. But folks, a lot of us here, we have more than enough. And yet we're still discontented. Tingnan mo, ang dami. I talk to a lot of people, and they say to me they want to change work. And then someone comes to me and tells me, I need prayers. Why? Because I don't have work. This guy has no work for 6 months. dying to get a job. This guy has a wonderful job, but is not contented in what he has. This guy wants to leave his job. This guy was desperate to find a job. Now tell me, what's the difference between these two people? Attitude. The person who has a job clearly becomes easily discontented. Why? Because we fail to appreciate what we have. Remember, discontentment is about the future, about what have been, and you forget the reality and the blessing of what you have currently. And that's the problem, what Paul is saying. Paul is saying, look, I am okay regardless of what's the outcome. Why? Because his contentment is founded in Jesus. Folks, contentment is an elusive commodity today. Elusive commodity. Lahat tayo discontented. In fact, much of the stuff in social media works hard to breed discontent. Hindi nyo ba napansin yan? Nag-search ka sa Google ng Google ng flashlight. Cost of a flashlight. Then all of a sudden, yung flashlight na yun nasa Facebook mo na. Have you noticed that? Why? Because everyone, or the algorithmic patterns of social media reviews your behavior. It knows what you're searching online. And what you search online, that's what's gonna feed you on the Facebook feed. Kaya kung subukan mo yun, watch, hanap ka, Google ka, watch. Then all of a sudden, all the ads in Facebook will become watches. It's true. It's a phenomena that's happening right now. It breeds discontent. Latest model, newer. It will never end. You will never get satisfied. And the problem with this mentality is that you will never be satisfied and you will never be happy to enjoy because you feel you're always deprived. Look at what the Bible says about contentment. The definition of contentment. Contentment says, state of satisfaction that is anchored to our confidence in God that results in a joyful celebration of life. That's what it means to become contented. Confidence in God that results in a joyful celebration of life. Contentment should not be anchored on the circumstance of life. Rather, it is confidence in the one who gives life. Kaya ang daming tao, sobrang peaceful. Ang daming tao, bakit ganun yung perspective niya sa buhay? Bakit walang desire for more? Bakit lagi kontento? Secret? Kasi hindi siya nakatingin sa tao eh. Hindi siya nakatingin sa gamit. Hindi siya nakatingin sa bagay. Hindi siya nakatingin sa pera. Nakatingin siya kay Kristo. And that's the thing that we need to understand. So let me give you the application, the part that breeds your discontent. What are the things that breed your discontent? Number one, the first thing that breeds your discontent is financial or material discontent. We said about posting food. We said about that. It breeds discontent. People getting promoted, it breeds discontent. New gadgets. Opening, unboxing my new phone. Diba? Paborito natin yan? Unboxing my new phone. Yeah! Whoo! Kagana na picture, oh? New phone. Yeah! So kaya pagka ganun, yung phone mo, 5 taon na, kaya aramdaman mo, gusto mo magkaroon ng telepono. O yung mga iba naman. Diba? Mga sasakyan. Bagong car wash. Kahit nasa car wash, pinapapicturean. Pak! Right? Kung ngayon, nag-jeep ka lang, FS ka lang, lagi pinapicture yung tao, yung napakakinis ng kotse. Siyempre, nagpipit ng discontent. Gusto mo na rin magkakotse. Pero in fact, okay ka naman ng walang kotse. Pero dahil panay ng post ng picture ng kotse, gusto mo na magkakotse. Bag, damit, sapatos, lahat na lang. Panay ang post. Gusto mo ngayon magkaroon ka ng maraming sapatos, kahit ang dami mo ng sapatos. Nanay ko nga eh, ang dami ng sapatos. Sabi ko, ma, ang dami mo ng sapatos. Alam mo yung flip-flop, anong tawag doon? Hindi. Oh, flip-flops ba yun? Flip-flops? Fit-flop, sabi ko. Sabi niya, uy, maganda yung kulay red na mayroong kulay-kulay sa baba. Ma, 6 na yung flip-flop mo. Kaya bumili, hindi anti-slip to. Ha? Kahit anong tsinelas, anti-slip, no? Mahal-mahal nga niya ng flip-flop eh. At kung ka nang dumaan doon, kasi sa mall, pag dumadaan siya sa mall, nakikita niya yun. Nakikita doon, sabi niya, tinatawag ko ng flip-flop, oh. Tinatawag ko ng flip-flop, oh. Sabi ko, ma, huwag na tayo dumaan dyan. Kaya lang, sa posting niya, natuto siya ng Zalora ba yun? Zalora. Sabi ko, ma, Kita bibili ng Zalora kasi hindi mo naman kailangan ng bag. Sinasabi na ng social media, bumili ka ng bag. Materially, financially, discontented. What a relational discontent. Let's talk about relational discontent. You see all your friends always on the beach. You see your friends always out at hindi ka invited. Ano mo naman nararamdaman? Bakit hindi ako in-invite? Bakit hindi ako in-invite? Bakit hindi ako sinama? Oh, umalis na naman sila, hindi man lamang nagyaya. Ano ba naman, yuyayain lang ako, hindi ako pwede. Diba? And when we feel that, it's relational discontent. You left out again. And I told you earlier, relational discontent also happens when people are getting married, people getting, you know the number one sought after relationship status of singles? Ano yung number one sought after relationship status ng singles? In a relationship. Pag nakita mo yung magic word na yun, in a relationship, sigurado, lahat titingin doon. Sino? Right? Sino? Why? Because we're always in that mindset. The third discontent happens in circumstantial discontent. Ako dito ako tinatamaan. What's circumstantial discontent? You're looking at your life and you're comparing your life to someone else. You know, don't get me wrong, I get discontented because there are certain things in my life I want to do. For example, Sunday. I want to spend time Sunday with doing a lot of things, personal things, but my Sunday is packed. I serve in the morning here in CCF Center, and then the afternoon normally, I have either ministerial duties or I have my D group. And in the evening, I get so tired, wala na akong oras sa pamilya ko. Wala na oras sa nanay ko pag Sunday, minsan. And that's why I said, sometimes, gusto ko sana Sunday, wala akong ginagawa. Wala akong ginagawa Sunday, but I can't because this is my calling. But I'm not complaining, but I just want to be honest. Sometimes that's something that I feel bad about. I feel discontented. And so, I want you to be real honest. Among those three things, financial, material, relational, or circumstantial, ano yung madaling tinatamaan ka? What are those things? O baka lahat? Pwede rin naman lahat. But my point is this. You need to understand what are those triggers so that you could learn to manage. For example, I already feel I'm lonely because I want to go out of town and I want to spend lahat ng tao nasa beach. Ako nga kahit sa swimming pool, walang oras. What do is I avoid photos that are already on beach. Pag nakita ko yung feed about beach, diretso ko na yun. See, you need to understand ano yung nagtitake sa'yo eh. Saka tinatamaan eh. Kailangan mo i-address yun. Tinatamaan ka sa mga in a relationship, di wag mo tignan. Eh, titignan mo ba yung mga SDE? Titignan mo lahat ng mga wedding photos. So, titignan mo, syempre, lalo ka ano mo yun? Yung di ba? So, ano kailangan natin gawin? What are the application points? Simple application points I want to share with you tonight. First, you need to know that in everything, through Christ, He will give you strength. That is the secret. Everything that you need to do, you can find strength in Christ. The secret of contentment is found in Christ and Christ alone. Listen to me. You will never, ever understand that Jesus is the only person you need until you realize that He truly is the one that is all you need. Let me repeat. Kaya mo hindi naiintindihan na si Jesus lang ang talaga makipagbigay sa'yo ng contentment kasi hindi mo pa nararamdaman yun eh. So, subukan mo muna, matanggal sa'yo lahat. Masakit yun, ha? Subukan mo tanggalin sa'yo lahat, and that's when you realize that in spite of all of these things being lost, and Jesus still remaining in me, that's when I still feel contented. Yun po yun. He is everything that we need. So there are three things, quickly, I want to share to you three practical applications about being contented. First, the first thing that you need to experience, that you need to experience the goodness of Christ. You need to experience that. Because if you don't experience the goodness of Christ, you will never be satisfied, ever. That's why here in Big Fridays, we center our messages about Jesus. Because truly, He is the answer. He is the only answer. And so if you're here and you're joining us for the very first time, all of our answers point to Him, points to Jesus. And so if you don't experience His goodness, you will never be satisfied. So how do we apply this? Three things I want to share to you, practical application when you put Christ in the center of life. When you're putting Jesus in the center of life, number one, you don't compare yourself to others. That's the first application. Don't compare yourself to others. It will only lead to discontent. There will always be people looking better than you. There will always be people having better life than you. Stop comparing. You need to stop that. You measure your basis on yourself, on what God has called you to do, and not what other people are accomplishing. You get that. You get that from yourself. The result of comparing yourself to others is usually a rejection of your own self-design. Pagka gusto mo yung nangyayari sa iba at hindi nangyayari sa iyo, ang ibig sabihin nun, nire-reject mo yung design sa sarili mo at kinukuha mo yung design sa iba. But God has given you features, unchangeable features that is only uniquely for you alone. Ikaw lang meron yan. So kung ikaw lang meron yan, ba't gusto mo nung wala ka? Ikaw lang yun uniquely That is you And when we reject the design of God in our lives, we have difficulty accepting the designer on what His plan is for our life. Kaya ang daming tao discontented. Kasi you fail to appreciate God's design for you. And you're rejecting it. You're filtering it. Inaayos mo lahat. Kailangan lahat perfect. Hindi po ganon. Hindi po ganon. And that's why the first thing you need to do is don't compare yourself to others. Second, be grateful for who you are and be grateful for what you have. You need to understand that. Instead of looking at them, you look at what God has given to you. Yun po yun. So often, we allow what we don't have to dominate our focus in life, to the point that we forget the so many other wonderful things that we have. Ang dami po niyan. Not only material things, but far more important blessings like family, like friends, like Jesus. Nakapagtataka, we always say that Jesus is all we want and Jesus is all we need. Parang dami natin discontent sa buhay natin. If you ask that question, we always say, Jesus, you're enough. Jesus, you're everything. And yet, ang dami po nating gusto sa buhay natin. Question that you need to ask yourself. Listen. You are all unique. We are all unique in our own way. God created you like nobody else. You're unique. So why would you want to be someone else? Why? Why would you want to be someone else? That's the question we need to ask. Because God is perfect and He made a perfect choice in you. Understanding that gives you a huge step towards accepting who you are. And that's when you stop comparing. That's when you start being grateful for who you are. That's when you start being happy, genuinely celebrating who you are. And that's when you celebrate other people's win. And the third application is this. You give yourself to others. Stop taking, start giving. That would kill discontentment. Are you feeling discontented? Start giving it away. Start giving it away. You have so many clothes, wala na ako madamit, wala na ako masuot, dami-dami mong damit, wala na ako masuot, dami-dami pamigay mo. Pamigay mo lahat, and then you will be contented. Yung mga ibang tao, sama-sama ng trabaho ko, ayoko itong trabaho ko ito, taas-taas ang sweldo, ayoko itong trabaho ito, hindi naman ng trabaho, kahit anong trabaho gusto na. Why? Because when you lose something, when you give away something, that's when you truly measure the impact of that into your life. So stop comparing people to people. Stop asking what others want to give or what you want others to have from you. Start giving things to others. Why? Because God designed us to serve and share with others. Until we do that, we will feel great discontent. Let me close it in the next 2 slides. Let me wrap up. First, discontent comes from focusing on what might have been or what we could be. That's when discontent, I told you kanina, discontent is about the future. Contentment comes when you enjoy what's in the present. Okay? Discontentment is what could have been. Contentment is enjoyment of the present. And that's why it's a game changer. When you start enjoying what you have right now, rather than what you might have, you now appreciate what you have. It's a absolutely game changer. Instead of moaning and groaning about the fact that you don't have a nice and higher paying job, Have fun with your current job and ask God what you could do, what you can do for Him in your current job. Instead of complaining and feeling discontented about family members, about friends, why not, instead of complaining, enjoy those times with them? Ibang perspective eh. You don't miss the joy of the present by whining about what might have been. Instead of staying awake, trying to dream about that new car or that promotion or that new job, enjoy the fact that you have a job. Instead of yearning for a romantic relationship with someone else special, have a relationship with Jesus. Jesus never rejects. Jesus never rejects. So if you want to have a relationship and you're scared to be rejected, go to Jesus. He never rejects. Instead of moping and wanting to get married or starting a family, instead of moping there, maximize the opportunity of being single. Maximize it. Your mobility, your availability in this season of your life, maximize it. And when you catch yourself, you're complaining because you're so cramped in your schedule, shucks, I'm so busy, I'm so stressed, tayo ko ginagawa. Imbis na ma-stress ka, matuwa ka nga eh. Marami kang ginagawa. Kasi yung mga iba, walang ginagawa. At stress na stress. Stop looking beyond the moment. Rather, enjoy the moment. Can you turn to the one beside you and tell that person, learn to be content? Come on. Contentment comes with Jesus. And there's only one road to contentment, and that is through Jesus. Folks, let me close with this. If you read the entire book of the Philippians, when Jesus spent time in Philippi, Paul poured his life to that city, to that town. And the way he poured his life into that city was when he poured his life pointing people to Jesus. That's what he did. That's what led Paul to have great joy and content. Kaya sabi niya, rather if I have more, rather if I have less, full stomach, empty stomach, I will be contented. Why? Because he devoted his time in his life to Jesus. And folks, that is the antidote to having the selfie-centered life we have right now, that we might have a Christ-centered life in our life. My identity is not on how many followers I have. My identity is who I am following. Folks, who are you following? Who are you following? If you feel discontent in your life, you need to refocus your life, not to focus on yourself, but focus on Jesus. Do that. A lot of us here have a personal relationship with Jesus, but we're distracted. We lose our focus. We tend to focus on other things. But for some of you here who have never come to a point where you really have surrendered your life to Jesus, perhaps tonight is the night, because you will never be satisfied in everything else until you're satisfied in Christ. Let's pray.